Tobeka Lwana, who is an inclusion and equity activist, about today being Youth Day and her work in this space. Welcome back. I don't know if we have you, Tobeka.
Hi, let's try again, Desiree.
No, let's do that. I was just asking what your thoughts are about government incorporating the inclusivity theme in the Youth Month celebrations.
I think it's a very good thing, and I think a lot has been spoken about it, but the fact of the matter, especially looking in South Africa has got a very huge youth population that is the most disadvantaged population that does not really have any space to participate constructively in politics, in government, even in corporate. I mean, when you look at the ministers that country, you look at the age profile, you look at the corporates, the corporate sector, and you look at the directorship, the levels of directorship, or even just having youth in advisory roles, because even those corporates, the populations they serve are mostly youth, but they are the ones that are really left outside. So I think inclusion and equities is a very crucial conversation even now as we celebrate or mark Youth Month, because youth remains the population or the group that is left outside.
Tobeka, I know you, but just for the benefit of our viewers, you say that you feel you are qualified to speak about inclusion as you grew up with achondroplasia. Just explain to our viewers, what is achondroplasia and how did it lead to you having a sense of being excluded?
Achondroplasia is a health condition that, in a common terms, can be classified as dwarfism. So I'm someone whose physical structure does not have your normal, or average height, or my limbs are much shorter than your average person. So at times it's classified as disabled, but in real terms, I do not really feel I am disabled because I have mobility. I am able to operate, like anyone else. But in its classification, it is classified as a physical disablement. So when I say that I believe I'm qualified to speak around issues of exclusion, especially when it comes to people living with disabilities, is because I know what it means to navigate or move within a society that is not really meant or built for someone with disabilities. Even though I believe that I am a unique kind of case in a way that, in spite of all these things, I've been able to find and push and find my way or create my own space within spaces that are not really ideal for someone with my limitations. So it is in that, because I feel I've experienced areas or parts or sectors that were not as accommodating or that did not have access, even though I had to push through. So through my experiences, I feel I can be able to comment on these, shine the light on these, educate on these issues, and really agitate for some constructive change.
Yeah. I want to quote a line in the article where you say, think of how we give or deny equal access to opportunities, resources, and participation to people who may be excluded or marginalized because they look different to us, are of a different culture or religious orientation. This sums up exclusion. What is inclusion?
Inclusion is really considering or checking if you've ticked all the boxes. Like, do we have everyone? Because at the basis, the fundamental human right is that we all have a right to participate. We all have a right to feel valued and be respected and be able to contribute in society. So if you're in a boardroom or in politics or whatever sector, community, wherever you have to make decisions, think of everyone. Have you considered the young? Have you considered the old? Have you considered those that are physically able or those that are disabled? Have you considered the other race or people with different cultures? Have you considered, because the people, the issue is the people who have the access, who have the key, or who have to make a decision, usually tend to like to work with those that are familiar to them, those who look like them, those who have the same cultural background like them. But those decisions go beyond the people they're familiar with, the people they have relationships with. So it's really about considering who's not in the room when you're making those decisions, because the decisions you make are not only for your friends, are not only for your, for your kin, for your race, for your soccer club or whoever. The decisions must make sense for everybody, decide for everyone, even those that you don't have relations with or those you don't interface with. And it's a hectic test for everyone. Inclusion, really, for us to get it right, is not only a legislative or policy issue. It's an individual choice that even in your day-to-day, do you consider yourself, can you just for 1 or 2 days or whenever, consider moving beyond what you're familiar with? When you see something different, interrogate it in a good way, in a positive way. Ask questions, find out, what's your experience like? How can it be better? How can we help you? Think beyond what is familiar and known to you.
It's interesting that you speak about what an individual can do, and it's really commendable what you have done in your life. But let's talk about what the community can do. You say we are not aware of our own prejudices and biases. How can the community at large start to inculcate values of being inclusive?
Okay, we'll bring it back to South Africa. We still have a lot of biases, and our biases reside within ourselves as individuals, and the biases are at a grouping point of view. So you find in certain communities, I'm going to talk from a Black community where we don't understand maybe another race, and because we don't understand it, we don't even want to learn. We just are comfortable with what we know. For the world to get better and richer is for us to participate and integrate amongst ourselves, regardless of the issues. There's different issues. I'll give you an example of the whole issue around gender and gender acceptability. It's for as an individual, go out of your way to go and understand, learn, ask questions for someone who's got a different gender orientation than what you know or what you're used to. Understand, learn, and not to humiliate, but just to understand, because in your understanding, then you'll know that we are all uniquely and differently gifted. And once you learn and you understand, you'll appreciate and you'll treat with respect, and you will accept. And you accepting someone else, it means that that person now is able to move freely within your space, within your community, and then they can contribute. An example I usually give, people will ask me, how, with your physical attributes or how the way you look when they see me, they will say, but you're a very sociable person. You move around society. You interface in business. You interface socially. You'll find me in your creative spaces, whether it's in the fashion industry that I'm really interested in and I'm passionate about. You'll find me moving around in the business sectors with business giants in a way. And someone will ask, how do you do it? But it's because certain individuals have allowed me access. They've allowed me to be.
Tobeka, we don't seem to have a great line, and you might be cut off, I'm not sure, but let me just take my chances. I just want to say that for a big chunk of the conversation, we've been talking about the leadership article, but let's talk about the work that you do. All right, we seem to have lost Tobeka Lwana there, but I'm sure you get the gist of it, the amazing work. I wanted to talk about the amazing work she does in terms of her activations with regards to inclusion, and I'm sure it's a conversation we can have on another day.